Okay, so let's start from the first one. And I also want you to read through it. I'll give you 10 seconds as any other recruiter, right? So you get 10 seconds to just look through it. I'll take the same time. I haven't opened them, to be fair, because I wanted to give you my exact immediate reaction without looking at them ahead of time. So we'll get a few seconds to look through it, and then we will discuss it. I also ask people to provide me with some roles they might want, so we can not only review the CV but also try to see if it's a match for that specific role. Let's start. I hope you can read it. If you cannot, just let me know. I can zoom in. Okay. Okay. And that's it. Ready? So, first thing, I like the template. I believe this is a standard template. I like it. I like the font. I like it's very well readable. I like the format. I hope this is not, no, but might not be a problem with an ATS. But anyway, in general, I like it. Although, as I said, I'm not focusing on the graphical part. Let's start from this. Someone might argue that this is spending some real estate, some of your budget, right? Because imagine everything you put here is consuming your budget. You're spending your budget to see something that may not be very relevant, right? Might not make the difference here. Honestly, I, li- I kind of like it. It's not a lot of. I mean, I didn't spend more than the time to read it and then move on. It's not really important from the role, but I kind of like it. But this is more a personal reaction. Uh, in general, yeah, don't spend too much space on the page just to write things like your motto or your way of living, right? It's not really crucial for the role. The hiring manager or the recruiter will get nothing out of this. uh okay, summary. I like the start, over 8 years, right? So it's clear to me that this person has 8 years of experience, right? Let's start with numbers. I like it. A rationalist who loved board games, cars, and Excel. Okay, now we get a little bit less into important signals here. Uh, we will see maybe the job role required to be a rationalist. But if does not, here I'm not getting much. Most probably Excel. Yeah, there's office here. Okay, it's again, this person is trying to express their interest. Um, proven ability to develop innovative solution and absorb new technology to address complex business challenge. Um, I don't know where my buzzword button is, but this sounds a lot of button, right? Proven ability to develop innovative solutions. Um, let's get into the next part of the CV, and I'm curious to see what are these innovative solutions, because by reading this, I really don't understand what this person is referring to. Um, and I'm curious to see which complex business challenges he or she solved. Right. So let's move on to see this detail. Um, professional experience. Okay, this is the name was redacted. Project manager's role. Good. Spearheaded development and integration of a new company-wide management system. It's good. It's explaining what the scope is. I would say could have benefit from explaining a little bit more about the impact of this. I mean, without the name of the company, maybe this was obvious by having the name of the company, but which management system um, was used? What was the how many people, first, how many employees in the company were impacted, right? I spearheaded the development and integration of a new company-wide management system for 1,000 people. Right, that's very cheap, easy to say. It's immediately telling um, what the impact of the work. Supervise and optimize IT systems. Now, supervise IT system, I'm not sure what it means. Okay, optimize IT system also is not clear to me what this person did specifically in this one to facilitate a smooth digital transformation. I really don't understand. This sentence for me is really cryptic. I can't understand what this person has done. Right? Maybe uh, a little bit more about this would have been help in explaining what the person did. Successfully implemented 3 plus industry 4.0 machinery project. Okay, I'm not uh, very knowledgeable about this industry 5.0 machinery project, but I would expect, sorry, that this, I mean, at least it says 3 plus, has some numbers, and I believe this refers to something specific. I should look it up, but let's say that I would most probably look it up if this person overall profile was in line with what I was looking for. Efficiently manage 5 plus high value logistic project for top tier international companies. Okay, if you say top tier international company, it would be nice to say the names, right? Maybe they were just redacted, but at least in the name will be very impactful, because if they are top tier international companies, people will know them, right? So it will be very useful to name them. Ensuring excellent stakeholder relationship. Hmm? And delivering detailed progress reports. Now, this doesn't say much to me. I mean, ensuring excellent stakeholder relationship is something any project manager should do. Now, the question is, why is this excellent? What did this person do to make it excellent? Maybe he set up some best practices to manage stakeholder relationship, or maybe the stakeholders were very difficult, a lot of them, whatever, right? It was very, very complex, but this sentence doesn't say so. It's look like the only concrete reference to their contribution is delivering detailed progress report, which doesn't tell why this was difficult, which doesn't tell why this resulted in an excellent relationship. I think this again could benefit, this second part could benefit from a little bit more details. Okay, let's move on. I believe this was redacted, but I don't know if this was the same company or not, but head of production office led and motivated a team of three, fostering a collaborative work environment. The first part, I like it. I mean, the motivated is imply by leading, right? To me, if you lead a team, you also want, it's part of your responsibility to motivate. So already led a team of three would have been sufficient here. I think it's good. It express exactly what the scope was. Fostering a collaborative work environment. Again, uh, I haven't met a lot of managers or leader who were fostering an uncollaborative work environment, right? So I would say this is implied by the fact that you manage a team of three. Uh, if there is any other meaningful impact, it should be listed here. Led a team of three who was responsible of doing these few things and manage 100 deliverable over a year. I'm making this up, provide some numbers, it's obvious to the reader what your impact was. Well, this second, especially the second part, looks a lot of buzzword and boilerplate stuff which doesn't really provide information on what you have done. Introduce a Scrum management approach. This is good, right? It's saying this is very specific, done this, driving productivity and improving office efficiency. These are the kind of things that are difficult to measure. So while this might look a little bit of vague, I can buy into this in the sense that, yeah, I mean, productivity and efficiencies, especially for internal processes, are very difficult to measure. Right? So overall, I like this sentence. Develop comprehensive production reports and tracking system to enhance operational visibility. And also, this one looks good. Maybe a little bit, I would elaborate a little bit more on what it means to develop production reports, because it's not super clear to me, but I'm also not familiar with this type of work. So maybe it's just me not being familiar, and this would be obvious to others reading this. Okay. And the last role, production office employee, manage order entries and production cycles within the company management system. Okay, maybe adding some numbers, how many order entries, how many cycles, what was the impact of this work. Um, Sometimes also explain the complexity of doing this at that company. The company was very large, or was international, or this was distributed across 4 time zone. Right? Elaborate on why was difficult, right? It's it might not be obvious. Um, it's a good way to sell this as you accomplish something difficult. Demonstrated technical expertise by programming laser machine. Okay, it's interesting. Very specific. Is just making clear that the candidate has this expertise. Okay, moving to the education, bachelor degree in management engineering. I don't know what L-9 means. Uh, Maybe a little bit more information, like when was completed. There is no date. Was it completed or not? The name of the university. Maybe that was redacted, but the name of the university. I would say that maybe the thesis, if you really want. I mean, this person has only, I mean, already 7 8 years of experience, so maybe that's already far enough that you don't want to mention it. And then 3 certification, very good. With the dates, skills, I like it. Okay, I mean, overall, I think the skill part is good. To the point, expressing the different skills. So, yeah. So overall, I would say there are some areas of improvement. I would spend, considering this person has um, 8 years of experience. Maybe I would elaborate a little bit more on this part to make it more appealing in terms of contribution. It's currently a little bit light, so I think it's could benefit from elaborating a little bit more here. I think that the other part looks okay to me. So yeah, this is more or less my feedback. Let's see what people say in the chat. Let's go with this one. So Joe is asking, if a person decides to stop the career for 1 year to, for example, move to another country, learn English, take professional certification, and works in a totally different field, what would you put in a CV? It's better to avoid putting the experience. It depends, Joe. I would say if you have done that because learning the language was important for your career, you should mention it. So the focus maybe is not on the role you had. You are, I don't know, a waiter or a taxi driver. Uh, Maybe the focus doesn't go on the role, but you can say, you can add a section like um, living abroad to improve my English, And then you can say, while I was there, I have done, I took different training, and I also took a number of different jobs just to, just to be able to live abroad. You can say so. I would mention it honestly, but focus on what you got out of that period, not on the fact that you were a taxi driver and a waiter. Let's see what Simone is asking for. If I studied and worked for many years, now that I just finished my university career, should I put the graduation date in CV, or it could end up in being evaluated as a fresh graduate student and not as an experienced person? No, you should. You should. I mean, when I see a lot of those cases, people may be taking, I don't know, 6, 7 years completing their bachelor degree because they've been working. And so usually the things I see the date, I go up, I see the experience, that okay, this person took a little bit longer, but he also accumulated some work experience. So you should definitely you're not going to be evaluated as a fresh graduate. Um okay, Julie is asking, if you're working in a company that changed name, spin off but same business, your role is the same. How do you manage it in the CV? Is your, I mean, at the end, is your story. A CV is about storytelling. So don't lie. Please never lie. Okay. But you can present the your career in the way that is best at serving your purpose, which is to get hired. So let's say that you, if it doesn't matter, you can also just rename the company with the new name, and that's it. Uh, or you can just create a new section and add it there. Yeah, that is your decision. Something funny which happened to me. I worked for Alcatel Lucent, and I added that to LinkedIn, and then suddenly Alcatel Lucent was acquired by Nokia. And so now, if you look me up in LinkedIn, it looks like I work for Nokia. I've never worked for Nokia, but they took over the company in LinkedIn, and now it's just, there is no way for me, or maybe there is, but I don't care honestly. It's far enough back in time that I don't care. It's looked like I work for Nokia. So I got some time requests from people asking me about Nokia. And I have to say, no, sorry, I haven't worked for Nokia. It's just LinkedIn messing up my experience. Um, okay. Um, cool. Okay. Back to this one. There was also a role. Let me see a role. Okay. The role is a Google role. Uh, Technical Program Manager 2, Capacity and Constraint Management. Okay. So let's look into the minimal qualification. Bachelor degree in a technical field or equivalent practical experience. Okay. Well, although I believe that looking at this, the technical mean more STEM kind of degree. Um, Management engineering might not truly qualify, but I think overall this is less important. It's still the degree in engineering. So I would say the person will pass this first one. 2 years of experience managing projects. Here we have three, so it's good. Experience with two or more of the following: server hardware and software, network hardware and software, data center infrastructure and operation, or mechanical and electrical systems. Okay, now I have to say that out of my mind, I can't recall seeing any of this in the CV. But let me go back. Oh, Maybe this is related to mechanical engineering. This is good. As I said, I'm not familiar, so I might just. Hmm. Okay, I'm not sure. I mean, to some extent, I'm familiar with this type of role. Um, so I believe this might not be completely in line with what the candidate has, or at least it's not obvious, right? Um, so if we look at the preferred qualification, the 2 years of experience managing cross-functional, cross-team projects, um, I think the cross nature of this sentence is not obvious here because, well, you can imply we can just imply that the these 2 points are cross-functional project, but it's not obvious. So I would just, before signing this CV, I would just make clear here the impact. For instance, if I'm applying for this, I would say this was impacting 10 different functions across the company. So no discussion. This is right, a cross-functional experience working with AutoCAD. I haven't seen any AutoCAD, not even here. So I would say no. Experience with network capacity planning, and this is again a no because I haven't seen any capacity planning. So now we could also read all this um, to get a better sense of what the role is about. I'm kind of familiar with the team, so I'm not reading all of it, but I think that overall this candidate might be a little bit more on the mechanical industrial side, and what they are looking for is someone which is at the intersection of uh, software and hardware engineering and uh, more of, I believe, more of the building kind of engineering. So imagine a person who is responsible for, and this should be here, right? This person will be responsible to work on design and deployments of Google Cloud Partner, right? The trusted partner Google Cloud, which is a specific project, you can look it up, is public. Uh, and they will be responsible to execute capacity and constraint like power, space, cooling, operation, and network. So you see, this person will most probably be one of the person designing a sort of small data centers which are dedicated to customer, which is what the trusted partner Google program is about, right? So I believe that what I see here might not match what they are looking for. So this is my but again, I'm not very familiar with the industrial part, so maybe I'm wrong. But this is not obvious that this person has the skill. So if this person has those skill, they should be made much more obvious by reading this part, especially if they want to apply to this role. Okay. Uh, cool. We can move on with the second one, and I don't know how many. Oops, that's interesting. I can see the face, but I can't see the face here. Okay, interesting. Okay, so this is the CV. Uh, Before getting into this, Ronald says, any words about applying to America? I honestly, my I'm here implying that this person gave me this role just as an example, and they're not planning to apply for a US based role. If they do, then they either have to be exceptional at that role or already have some sort of a visa to work in the US. Uh, I mean, it is possible. Google is sponsoring um, visa and green cards for uh, non-US citizens, but is a very is not a super easy process. So I would say this is just adding additional complexity to it. Okay, let's look at this other CV. Let's take a minute. Um, uh, this again is a single page. Um, Person started. I mean, the first experience is 2020. Wow, 7 role in 3 years. There must be some in parallel. Like this too. Okay. Um, First thing, there are almost more letters in the name of the company and role and dates than in the description of what the person did. So this is a little bit unbalanced in the sense that your CV is not just the list of the companies you work for. The CV is primarily about explaining people how amazing you are at doing something, which is the job they are hiring for, right? So if you just list the company you work for, I'm taking to the extreme, this is not the case, but without spending enough time or enough um words to explain your contribution, right? It's not going to help. So, for instance, the first one, which is okay, is almost, I mean, that's what, 6 months. It, the only thing I can do is to look up Anima to understand what they do. But founder, startup, maybe add one single line about some achievement. What did the company achieve in the last 6 months? Uh, is the founder the only person working here, or they hire people? Did they get any client? Did they get any project delivered? Did they get any sponsor or investor? Um, this doesn't say anything about what the company achieved, right? And so my first reaction is that they haven't achieved anything, which most probably is not true. They have done something if they're still alive after this many months. It's a pity that they're not saying anything here. The other one, which is going partially in parallel with this since January, um, product manager, management of the strategic area of the company. Uh, this doesn't say much, right? What is the strategic area of the company? Except if the person wanted to say the strategy of the company. Uh, yeah, otherwise, any area to some extent is strategic for the company, otherwise, should not exist. Um this sentence is really cryptic. I can't understand what the person been doing. Uh, Organization of the team. First question is what does it mean, and second is how big is the team? Organization of a team of 10. An organization doesn't sound right to me. What does it mean, organization? Right? Is about designing an organization, or is about being an administrative a project admin for the team. It can be many different things, right? So it's very difficult to understand again what was the impact here. Um, Programming of budget most probably should be managing of budget. How much? You don't have to give the exact number, but is the budget about, I don't know, the Christmas dinner, or is 100 millions, right? Because it's kind of imply uh, very different skills, right? So again, I from this one I can't get the impact, the responsibilities of this person. Should elaborate more about, and doesn't mean adding one page just for this, but tell me what was the impact as a product manager, right? Tell me which are the products you own, which are the products that were launched here, what was the impact, how many users is internal, external. Tell me about the product. You are a product manager, right? Oops, sorry. Let's move on. Product designer, which looks like was the one before being a product manager, design, prototyping, and engineering of products. How many products, right? Um, how many people were using those products? How many revenues were generated by those products? You don't have to say all these things, but say at least one of this, right? So you just help quantifying what your responsibility was. Design of museum and public spaces. Good. This is a little bit more specific. I start getting what this person was doing. Uh, but maybe you have a couple of museum you want to mention as your highlights, right? Like contribution to the MoMA museum, right? I designed one room on the MoMA museum, right? Or I designed the entire museum in this small city in Italy. It doesn't matter, right? But at least you give some clear hints to. I mean, I said it doesn't matter. It matters, but you want to express to some extent what you have done. Right? Management of juniors, not sure it means. In general, I would not use the word juniors. Not in this form. Um, I would rather say managing the work of four other colleagues, if it was not people management responsibility, but was more a mentoring, coaching kind of thing. If it was instead proper people management, I would say managing a team of four people responsible for XYZ. Uh, let's move on. Okay, because okay, this one was well is overlapping with this one. Okay. Um, Management of design of a work card, from sketch to placement, yada yada, organization of event, sales of work, collector, a little bit more detail on the responsibility. Again, there is no clear impact of the work, right? And I move on. Here you have project management. Welcome, I guess, is a project. Lamp ramp stage. I don't know. This is a typical example that you might want to add the link, right? If this is external and is public, add the link. Maybe there are also credits. You have your name on it, and so this is going to be very helpful because it's easy for people to understand. Same here. It's public, most probably public thing. You might want to add the link. Okay. Uh, but I have to say, although I'm not an expert, this looks to me way more clear than things like this that are at the top, that are much more uh, difficult, more generic, right? They're not really explaining what the person did, right? They're too generic. By the way, you see what happened when I do this, right? An ATS will just literally freak out trying to parse this document. Um, okay. Same. I think I'm looking at this part. There is a little bit more details about the responsibility. Again, they lack numbers, and it's very difficult to understand what the person did, or what the impact of this person. I mean, design of accessory for mega yacht can be anything. It's good to know, but how many accessories, which type of accessories, or I don't know, any information that can help people understand what the person was doing. Moving on. Okay, this person was started design engineering. Uh, he's actually still doing this master. Um, these projects are good. I mean, I can see a lot of projects. Maybe it's worth for a CV like this to have project just move on the side and said, okay, this is the list of the key projects I contributed to, or try to explain better here what the projects are, or at least add the links so people can click and actually see the work, especially because this is work for designing, and so maybe seeing the results of the design might be very useful. uh, okay, this is the bachelor degree. Okay, some additional courses which are interesting. The part on the left side, uh, professional skill, technical expertise. What does it mean, right? This really means nothing. Technical can be anything, right? So either you replace technical with something specific, or just remove it. Understanding of UX. This is very vague. Understanding is a very weak word. Understanding of UX, I can tell you I'm not a UX expert, but I understand UX as well, right? So maybe you want to say something more specific. If you're exceptional at designing UX, for instance, uh, understanding here is more on the user side. As a user, I understand a user experience. I mean, or someone who just work very little on product design and product development can claim the same, right? Understanding of user experience. Business savvy. This is a big buzzword. Don't say so, except if you can prove that you are savior than the average person, right? If you can do that, business savvy. I've been in for, I don't know, on Forbes 30 under 30. Maybe that's, yeah, okay, okay. You are yes, but at that point you just say I've been on Forbes 30 under 30 list. That's it. Critical thinking again means very little. This is a perfect example of soft skill that either you can really demonstrate you have above the average, or you should just remove them. This is a little bit borderline because it's less of a soft skill, but I would appreciate understanding what it means. Research skills means very little. Problem solving does just no. Ability to prioritize. I would expect the majority of the people to be able to prioritize. Um, Strategic thinking. I thought I already saw this one. I don't know. It was critical thinking. Again, doesn't really accept if you put some evidence here that you are exceptional at this. Doesn't really help. Communication skill again is an expectation. So the majority of this are not professional skills. They are soft skills, and they are not really telling anything useful to the person reading this as a hiring manager, right? So I would either suggest to remove them or just keep the one that are really the top skills, and at that point just provide evidence that those skills you are very strong. You're very strong in those skills. And now we got the soft skills. So why communication is here and team player is here, right? Leadership, curiosity, empathy, trusting, clear communication. Oh yeah, you have communication here. Strategic thinking, you already have it here. Able to prioritize here again. Interesting here with the US spelling and here with English, British. Problem solving, I thought was here as well. Yes, possibly. So no, those two really need to be completely revamped. Those two section. Program skill most probably should be software skill or something like that. These instead are more precise. I think they're good to stay. Languages are good. Okay. Uh, I'm done with this one. I would do this. I guess this is the last one we do for today. So um, let's just look at the role. This person gave me three roles. Just check the first one. Okay, it's Google, product design. Okay, product design engineer, Pixel phone. Okay, it's very specific. The minimum qualification as mechanical engineering, product design. Okay, this the candidate, the person has product design in his CV. 1 year of experience in product design engineering. I guess the entire engineering as real. Where is it? I can't see any product design and engineering here. Um, so I would say it's already missing engineering in sense of really hardware. That's what they because this is about Pixel phones, right? Yeah, in fact, they ask as a minimum qualification experience in designing mechanical component like plastic metal parts. Maybe the person did something in this project, although I've seen here more of the museum public, maybe something in this project, but it's really not clear. So if the person wants to apply, they should just be sure that they mention this part. Experience using computer aided design tool. Is any of this NX, Creo, SolidWorks here? No. Maybe they are similar, but they ask specifically for this. So it would be worth investigating. So I would say just moving here in the minimal is going to be very difficult for the candidate to get to the next step because they already miss or it's unclear if they have some of the minimum qualification, which would make them not reach the next step. So they will not get forwarded to the hiring manager. Um, yeah, so I would not read this considering that they yeah, and just looking at this, I can see how they don't have this, or at least it's not clear. That's the usual problem. Maybe they do, but they're not saying so, right? That's why it's so important to be sure that your CV is very, very clear and use similar terminology to what is asked in the job description. Okay, I would say we can stop here now with the CV review. I'm sorry for the others, five or six, send me the CVs. I hope I could have done at least three or four. We stop at two. If this was useful, let me know, and we can do a second one. Maybe not the next one. A little bit, I would say, in maybe in a month or two, we can do a second round and get more of this review. Let me have a quick look at the question. Mm, Joe asked regarding the startup, if you are the founder, do you put the startup achievements only or also your role? I mean, if you're the founder, you said what you have done, right? I said, I don't know, I created a company and hire the first five employee or secure funding from these two large venture capital funds, or got a private investor to invest in my company and bootstrap the company. You can either, right? I mean, at the beginning, you must probably focus on your contribution. As you move forward and the company is successful, you want to focus on the impact of the company, because at the end, if the company reach that impact, is primarily your contribution. Randall said, I'm not sure if I can put the name of the customers in the CV. It depends. Some customers are sensitive and you can't. Some others are not. Now, it largely depends what you want to do with your CV. If you put it public for everyone to see, it's going to be a problem. If you only submit to a single company because you are applying for a role, telling them that you work with a company might not a big issue. But of course, you have to, you have to double check and be sure that if you're working, I don't know, for the government and you're working on some secret project, you might not want to mention the project in your CV. Let's see. Mhm. Okay, let's get this one. I think is the last one. Do you like 2 column CV? I think they might look better, but ATS don't really love them. No, ATS will hate them. As I said, I'm not the best person to ask for graphical feedback. I personally like them, but mine, the last I did is a single column one, or maybe not. Maybe it's 2 columns. I have to double check. But I like 2 columns. I said it's not the if you can do it one. I mean, the one we saw, the first one was pretty nice and was single column. So if you can find a good template, make your life easier. Okay. So I think we are at time. 2 things about the next live. If I can, I'll try to get a second one scheduled for this week on Friday, usual time, so 9 p.m. And I'm trying to convince um, a former colleague, a program manager working at Google, to come and tell us about his career and answer any question you might have, because he has a little bit of a different background from my background. And so his way to program management at Google had a completely different path, was more customer facing. Also, when he got to Google and then he changed to program management. So I would love for him to share with you his career path, so you can get more inspiration about different ways to become a program manager. But I'm not sure he's available, so he will let me know in a couple of days. And if he's confirming that, we might do it this Friday, and will be recorded as usual. After that, I'm going to be on vacation for 3 weeks. So it means that we will not see each other for 3 weeks. Don't forget about me. I'll be back and we will start again end of June or first week of July. And with that said, thanks everyone. Have a wonderful night and see you either here or on Telegram. Thank you.